Today's topic, which is a environmental deterministic approach by D.D. Sawant, Department of Geography, J.A.T Arts and Commerce College for Women, Malegaon District, Nashik. So while discussing to this environmental deterministic approach, human environment, what this interrelationship in the interplay between people and their environment, including the elements and arrangements by which people use the environment and the limitations the environment puts on human behavior. As this approach is based on the basic tenet of earth made man and pays more attention on the complete control of physical environment on man and his activities. In fact, if we'll say that according to deterministic perspectives of man environment relationship, man is subordinate to natural environment as all aspects of human's life. For example, physical, it means that health and comfort. Second one, that is social. Next, economic. Next, political, ethical, and aesthetic, etc. Not only depend but are dominantly controlled by physical environment, and hence though this deterministic or environmentalistic approach blossomed in the writing of E.C. Simple in 1910 in the second decade of the present century, but its seeds were already sown in the second half of the 19th century. In fact, the publication of The Origin of Species of Charles Darwin in 1859 laid the foundation stone of the concept of environmental influences on man and other organisms, and hence the human being depend on the environment, human being adapt to the environment, and next one, there is human belongs modify the environment. As next one, there is a determinism and possibilism are the dominant theories that they are considered as an irreconcilable paradox among them. It has been a debate for years that flourished from ancient to modern period. That among geographers, a great number of them have strongly emphasized the effect of environment determinist on man's activity, and also a great number are supporting the notion of possibilism. One of these researchers, scientist Ralph 1987 said that the landscape and places we live are important. Whether we shape them or they shape us, they are the expressions of what we are. Our lives are impoverished preciously to the extent that we ignore them. And hence the theoretically perspectives in human environment, what interaction is having, that is number one, which is a environmental determinism. Humans as clay to be molded by a dominant nature. Next, as a environmental possibilism, that it is not the physical environment that influences man, but also human efforts has to be considered. So, as a environmental determinism, in this is a view is highly supported by most geographers and non-geographers from ancient to modern period. If you see that, in ancient to medieval period, the concept of geography by itself and determinism was promoted by non-geographer and unscientific scholars with simple interest and observation. You know that even the prominent scholars were non-geographers like Hippocrates, Eratosthenes, Strabo, Aristotle, Herodotus, Ptolemy, and others. As it believed that the environment causes all cultural development, and hence the natural environment is the dominant force in shaping cultures, and hence the natural environment influences social, political, and religious life of mankind. So this what it occurs it a concept which you will see that environmentalist or deterministic concept of geography was given by Burroughs, who reversed the usual form of the human ecology as the study of man's adjustment to natural environment, which was given by the Hartshorne 1939. Next researcher who had studied on this concept was as a Doyle in 2011 says determinism is a theory of or doctrine based on the occurrences in nature or social or psychological phenomena casually determined by preceding events or natural laws. As the position, if you'll see that from the metaphysical and philosophical position, for everything that happens there are conditions, and what those conditions are such that without those conditions nothing else could happen. And hence it is also the view that every event has a cause, and that everything in the universe is absolutely dependent on and governed by causal laws. Hence, since deterministic believes that all events, including human actions, are predetermined, determinism is typically thought to be incompatible with free will. So many of the researchers, as Friedrich is there, Lipley, which demonstrated the effects of physical environment on society through the dictum, place, work folk, which shows the environment conditions and the type of work and work shapes, at least in part of the social organisms. And hence the we'll see the determinism by which was given by the Demolins in 1901 and 1903. He postulated that society is fashioned by environment. He also attempted that to analyze social structure in terms of geographical environment. Three American geographers, which were those, for example, number one was a W.M. Davis, second one that was a E.C. Semple, number third that was a E. Huntington, strengthened the concept of environmentalism. W.M. Davis, what he had said that he said that more known as a he was a more known geomorphologist attempted to link the nature with man. His two essays published, and also he demonstrated that human activities, racial characteristics, and cultural elements are related to greater extent to the environment. He also classified that human elements in terms of physical elements and pleaded for the control of physical elements over human elements, but later on the modified his earlier concept of man-environment interrelationship as the main subject matter of geography and treated description of religions of the earth as the core of geography. As such a he also published many books. He also predicted the various uh, in his theory of the Earth's surface. Many directed thoughts confronts him and with difficulties, and hence the same deterministic environmentalist approach was fully organized or scientific plane by here Tintin also. Here's a civilization and climate in 1915, the human and habitat in 1927, seasons of birth in 1938, etc., clearly demonstrate the influences of physical environment on man. So, like this way, Andrew et al. In 2003 forwarded the fundamental argument of the environmental deterministic that aspects of physical geography, particularly climate, influence the physiological mindset of individuals. Now, the key proponents of this nation includes Elaine Churchill Semple, Ellsworth Huntington, and Thomas Great Taylor. So, as ideas to be seen that Aristotle, Flavius, Baron, Friedrich, what the ideas those have given. People of relatively cold climate have more energy than those of mild climate, Aristotle stated. Next, Flavius Vegetius was a Roman writer. He stated that people of hot climate are relatively weak and lacking in courage, vitality, and resistance, while people of cold climate have vigor and vitality. Next, that is a baron who had given the idea in 1689 to 1755. He said that the spirit of laws, what the spirit of laws are, the influence of the climate on politics was evident in ancient Greece, where the infertility of the ground in Athens resulted in the establishment of the popular form of government, whereas the fertility of the soils around Sparta was reflected in the establishment of an aristocratic government. Raziel has given in his theory that natural environment was the prime mover that generated human activities, social paradigms, as well as human adaptations and responses. Elaine Churchill and Ellsworth Huntington. In 1919, Elaine Churchill had said that man is a product of the earth's surface. This means not merely that he is a child of the earth, dust of her dust, but that the earth has mothered him, fed him, set him tasks, directed his thoughts, confronted him with difficulties that have strengthened his body and sharpened his wits, given him his problems of navigation or irrigation, and at the same time whispered hints for their solution. She has entered into his bone and tissues, into his mind and soul. Next, that Ellsworth Huntington in 1879, he had directed that we are slowly realizing that character in the broad sense of all that pertains to industry, honesty, purity, intelligence, and strength of will is closely dependent upon the condition of the body. Each influences the other. Neither can be at its best while its companion is dragged down. The climate of many countries seems to be one of the great reasons why idleness, dishonesty, immorality, stupidity, and weakness of will prevail. Thank you. Thank you very much.